Hello and welcome to today's show, Triangle BNI, brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech gives their clients an edge over the competition with web and logo design that make them stand out. They will turn your leads into clients to help you grow your business. Oak City Tech has been around since 2009. You can go to oakcitytech.com, send them a note. They'll call you back pretty quick, set up a meeting, help you grow your business. Tell Drago we said hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning, and each week we bring you a small business success story from Triangle BNI. BNI is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. They have 32 chapters meeting each week, almost 600 members. We all get together to help each other grow our business. Today's small business success story is Kimball Sargent, and I always want to get this right, an independent Nikken self-care coach.
Yes.
Welcome, Kimball. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, we're going to learn a lot about nutrition today. I need to learn some, and we all do, especially after the Thanksgiving holiday. We're talking earlier, and I cut you off on, we're talking Thanksgiving, family coming over and everything. What's your best Thanksgiving side dish that you make?
Sweet potato custard.
Oh, is it all gone before?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And who taught you that?
My grandmother.
Oh, good. I love those stories.
Yes.
Did she show you how to make that, or did you inherit a recipe?
No, she showed me. I used to be in the kitchen. Well, she pretty much raised me, and so I used to be in the kitchen when she was cooking. I remember when I was just a little thing, her putting me up on the counter, and I would be on the counter and watching while she was doing this stuff, and then I always had to lick the spatulas, and so I was there from the beginning. Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right, and so you've been making that for a long time.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Have you passed that down to any kids or anybody yet?
Yeah, the kids like to make it, I think.
Okay.
They really like for Mama to make it better, probably.
Yes, we all do. It tastes better when somebody else makes it. So we're going to talk about a lot of nutritional things today because I want to make sure people have an understanding of what you do. I love your entrepreneurial spirit. We've known each other for a couple of years, so I've known mostly of what you do, and I stalk each week, getting prepared for the show, and like, okay, didn't know that, but a lot of this is the depth of you. The best way I can describe you is you truly want to help.
Yes.
Regardless of what the product is, your mission every day when you get up, knowing that as I know you, is just to help.
Right.
Where does that come from?
Well, it's kind of interesting. When I was about 4 years old, I told my parents that I had a new friend named Timmy. He was my invisible playmate, and Timmy had cancer. And it was kind of interesting because nobody in our family had ever had cancer. So I didn't have, it wasn't like I'd been around this. And I would tell them every day about the treatments that Timmy was getting, and they had to set a plate for him at the table and all of this. And Timmy was, he was very important to me. But they say that when my brother died, that Timmy passed away. And I told my parents that when I grew up that I was going to be a nurse and a healer. And that kind of stayed with me, that I wanted to be able to teach other people how to feel better.
You fulfilled that promise right there, because I know you are both. Let me get this right. With all the things you have going on, and we'll get to each of them here. Oh, by the way, Kimball is in her BNI group, meets Monday mornings at 8:30 at the famous Toastery in Waverly Place in Cary.
Yes.
If you are a morning person, you need to go there. If you are a Monday morning person, you need to go there. A lot of knowledge in her group. A lot of folks have been at BNI for years and years, helping people out, grow businesses, make referral partnerships long term. So please go see their group Monday morning at 8:30. They will get you started with at least 8 or 10 laughs with that group.
Yes.
There's always a story to tell. We've had Bill on. We've had Hope on. Scott Bloomer was on a while ago. So there are plenty of stories with the people I know in that group.
It's a great group.
Your umbrella company is Wellness Solutions Today.
Yes.
Nikken is the one that most people, I think, hear you talk about.
Right.
How did that come about? Then we'll get into what they do and the 5 pillars and everything.
Well, Nikken is a health and wellness company that came out of Japan 45 years ago this coming March. and started out with magnetics, and then you started using the energies of the sun, of the air, and technologies, nutritional technologies. The way I got involved with it is I was a pretty healthy kid. I was a dancer, athletic, and at 13 one morning woke up and I could hardly move. And my parents carried me to Duke Medical Center, and I was there a week. And the doctors told them there was something wrong with my immune system and they couldn't fix it, and I had to learn to live with it. And I did. But it was very costly and it was painful. So if you fast forward to towards the end of 2005, I was spending about $165 a month on copays for meds, and I would spend $6,000 to $8,000 a year on treatments and procedures and different things. And they told me I needed to apply for disability. Well, I've been
At
self-employed.
what age?
At that time, I was 45. This had been going on since I was 13.
Okay.
And I knew that I couldn't. I've been self-employed since I was 27.
Yeah.
I
And you're not about to sit
No.
around.
No. So I went to see a doctor in Chapel Hill, Dr. Alan Spanos, and he was a holistic internal medicine doc. And he went through everything, and he asked me about if I'd ever tried magnets. And I said, yes. And he said, did they work? And I said, yes. And he started using them. I said, no. He said, why? And I said, because I was placeboed. And he said, no, they really do work. And he said, I would really like for you to try them again. And he referred me, he didn't sell them, but he referred me to Michelle Moss, who was a massage therapist here in the Triangle. And Nikken, that's what they call the wellness home, and it's basically everything. And we got it because I could not go bankrupt. And that's what it would have meant if I had stopped working. And I got the wellness home, and in 6 weeks, he had me off of all of my medications. And I have been medication free. That was 2006 in March. I've been medication free since then. And I've only met my deductible once, and that was 5 years ago. And actually, 5 years ago today, I was in surgery. I was on my way to the gym that morning, and I slipped on ice, and I fell, and I ruptured C5, C6, and C6, C7, and I was able to heal up C5, C6 without having to have surgery on that, but C6, C7, they had to go in and clean it out. But obviously, in the last almost 14 years now, I just keep getting healthier, and I'm not getting younger. And I'm entrepreneurial. So my
Yes,
goal was
you
to
are.
be able to share this with other people. And I've owned franchises. I've had a counseling practice, holistic counseling practice, 25 years in January. But when I found this and started doing this 13 and a half, 14 years ago now, I got so excited because this allows me to help people, but not just help people, but also teach other people to teach other people.
Two things have changed probably in the last 10 years when it comes to multi-level marketing
Mhm.
and health, supplements, nutrition, whatever you want to call that. Back in the day, it's like, no, I don't want any of that. But with technology and research today, because I know some people are going to listen to your story and they're going to go, yeah, sure, yeah, it didn't really happen. She's trying to sell me something.
Right.
That's not the case these days in that industry. There's actually stuff that most of us should be taking to feel better, right?
Well, there's always been stuff. I mean, Nikken is 45 years old, and they came out of Japan. The first product they ever had was a magnetic insole, and they sold only on the island of Japan. They went to $1 billion in sales in 5 years. Mr. Masuda, who started the company, didn't want to bring it to the United States. His business partner, Mr. Watanabe, who still runs the company, did. Mr. Masuda said that Americans weren't ready for this because Americans, he did not feel, were that interested in taking care of themselves. And so it came to the United States in 89 and then moved their headquarters here in 99. You know, it's like anything else. There are good lawyers, there are good doctors, there are good MLM companies, and there's bad ones. What you want to do, and I can tell you, I've been a nurse now for almost 40 years, and I've been in private practice as an advanced practice nurse for 25 years. And in the United States, we do not have a health care system. We have a sick care system. And if you want to make your health better, you have to invest in your health and your body just like you invest in your car. And I suggest that you take a look at the things I'm talking about. There's other things too. This isn't all there is. But if you want to be healthy, you have to take care of you.
I've spent zero time in the healthcare world. One thing I've learned now with a bad back, if more money and time was spent on preventative rather than rehab, most of us would feel better. Now the insurance companies would be out a lot of money, but that's a whole other podcast to do. But you're right. It makes sense to get in shape. You I think you athlete with your all the gymnastics, everything you did, or dancing, everything you did, you stretched out before you had a competition, right? It's the same in my mind. It's the same thing, and I don't get why people won't let us get there.
Well, the problem is this. In the United States, we have become, well, I say that the pharmaceutical companies have hijacked the practice of medicine and nursing. It's all about the pill. You go to the doctor and the doctor writes your prescription and then you get better. And that would be fine if it worked. But some research study came out a couple of months ago and they looked at the top 16 industrialized nations as far as health. Japan was number 1. The United States was number 16. We aren't looking at the food we're eating. We're not looking at the hydration. We're not looking at sleep. And, that's what Nikken does. What sets Nikken apart is I could ask you if you knew the name. In fact, I'll do this. What is another total wellness company that's out there? Total.
I can't think of one. I'm sure I know of it, but nothing.
Well, there's really not.
Recall.
I mean, total. I mean, there's people that do nutritionals,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some people that do pain relief, and these. Well, what Nikken does is we look at the whole person. It is healthy mind, body, family, society, and finances. So we're looking at the whole person. But then what do? We talk about your wellness. You need to drink good water. Hydration, dehydration is worse in the United States than any other country there is around. Sleep deprivation. We have solutions for that. We are the most sleep-deprived country. We have things that relieve discomfort, and we have whole food nutrition, and we energize you. So Nikken looks at everything and puts it under one umbrella, and so we call it the wellness home. So if you utilize that, then you can take care of your health. It's not everything, but those are the things you've got to have to be healthy. Now, we make it simple. I call it kind of wellness for dummies, because how many extra hours in your day do you have to put towards maintaining your health?
I should carve out wasted hours or wasted half hours, and I don't. I have the time. We all have the time. I have the time. I just, for whatever reason, probably like most people, I stretch a lot because of my back.
Right.
I would love to get back into swimming more. But yeah, there's more time we could all put into that.
Well, the truth of the matter is there are only so many hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a busy person and you work, sometimes being able to do that is hard. So what we do is you still need to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
I dance an hour a day. In fact, I became a
NIA
instructor. Yeah. but I became a NIA instructor, which is a type of dance that is self-healing through movement. And I did that this summer. So I dance an hour every day. But there's other things. You've got to get your sleep. You've got to get all these.
Yeah.
So if you use our sleep system, you got to sleep anyway. You just sleep on it. You've got to drink water. We give you the cleanest water possible. We give you some whole food supplements, which are different from chemical supplements. And we have you wear some energy products on your body that give you energy. So you don't have to think about it. You just drink the water that's there. You sleep on the mattress. I mean, you've got the insoles in your shoes. It's very simple. It's a way to do things to set the foundation for your health. Then what you do is you add other things on to go to greater levels.
We get, as consumers for food, we're better today at reading labels. I would testify to that than 20 years ago. Now, how good is another, I'll get to that in a second. I think we get focused on the wrong information we're supposed to be reading in the product, because you hear all these diets, no carbs, all these different kind of diets. And I think we get focused on the wrong things to look at. Am I somewhat correct in that?
Well, a little bit. I mean, here's the basis. Simple carbs are the same as sugars, and sugar is at the root of all illness. So, and I don't think people are reading the labels, because if people were reading the labels and were comprehending, they wouldn't be eating most of what is out there. Even frozen green beans will have around 6 grams of added sugar, and sugar, so number one, you want to cut out on sugar. You want to have your food non-sprayed.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be organic, but you want it non-sprayed. It's the chemicals and things in our foods. We have one of the worst diets. In fact, a few years ago, there was a study that was released. One of the morning shows talked about it for about a week, that the poorest people in the UK had a better diet than the richest people in the United States. And part of it is that they don't spray, and there's so many things that are illegal in Europe that aren't here. And so diet is a problem. Also, nobody has an idea typically of what they're eating as far as calories and all go. It's complex, but if you want to live a healthy life, and I think it's much more economical to live a healthy life, then you've got to look at what you're eating. You've got to get some exercise. The body was meant to move. You have to rest. You have to get your sleep. I mean, and you've got to be hydrated.
I love the TV commercials for weight loss. They never mention exercise. And it's a simple thing. If you take in less calories than you burn off, if you eat better and exercise better and do both of those, you got a fighting chance of getting better. But rarely do you see those two packaged in any kind of promotion or commercials.
Because people don't want to move. And the other thing is they don't want to change their diets.
Right.
When you're a busy person, it is easier to be grabbing foods than it is to be buying healthy, nutritious foods. Like I get all my meats from Neethi Bali over at Farm to Fork because she visits the farms. I mean, she knows exactly what's coming there. When you don't know what's in your food, it's a real problem. And stressed out animals have high cortisol levels, which they transfer onto you when you eat that. I mean, there's just so much. When I was in Europe, 10 years ago, I was at a restaurant one night, and the guy said, "Oh, you're an American." He said, "Your food is plastic." And there's a little bit of truth to that. I was in Italy this year. We had earned a trip with our company, and I love arugula. It's one of my favorite things. The arugula there was such a rich green, and it had so much more flavor, but it's because their soil has been protected. And, it's a big deal here. And the problem is most people are moving so fast that they just don't have the time to do all the things that they need to in order to promote their health.
We are here with Kimball Sargent, independent Nikken coach, independent Nikken self-care coach. Her BNI chapter meets 8:30 Monday mornings at the famous Toastery in Waverly Place in Cary. Please go join them. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech, where they help you reach your goals with proven technologies for increasing traffic, leads, and sales. Go to oakcitytech.com. Tell Drago we said hi. This is a family business for you.
Yes.
You and your hubby.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. I always love to ask people on the show is, how did you meet your spouse? And do you both tell it the same way?
Well, we did. We had met through a business. Well, I had done some work with Rex Home Services, and I had met him briefly about 5 years before. But the way we met was that I started going to Pullen Baptist Church, and on the very first day I walked in, and he was sitting on the back row, and I thought, I think I'll sit there.
Nice.
And we started sitting together, and we became friends. In fact, that year at Christmas, November, we started doing things after church.
And what year was this?
This would have been 2004.
Okay.
And we started doing things after church together. And that year at Christmas, my son said something about Jeff and I dating. And I said, "Oh, we're not dating. We're just friends." And he was about 16, and he looked at me and said, "Mom, everybody on the planet knows that you were dating Jeff except for you and Jeff." And we ended up getting married about 9 months later.
Nice. Did you have that conversation with Jeff?
Oh, yeah.
My kid tell me this. What are your
Yeah. Yeah. He said, "Everybody knows we're dating but us." And he just laughed.
Where was the first actual date?
Oh, now that's funny because I like all kinds of different ethnic foods. And my husband ate what he called an American diet, which I call boring. So we went to get a Christmas tree. He was going to help me get it. And I said, "Do you want to go eat Mexican or would you like to go eat Thai? Well, he didn't eat Mexican at all. He'd never had Thai, so didn't know whether he liked it or not. So it was right over here on Walnut Street, the Thai restaurant
Yeah.
over there. And it's funny now because Mexican is his favorite food since we got together. Let's just say I broadened his horizons in the food department.
Was it a long transition, or did he change, or at least understand where you're coming from?
Well, he began to, it was things he hadn't tried. He grew up down east, right outside of Jacksonville, a little place called Richlands. And then he moved to Chapel Hill, where he had done pulmonary research for almost 20 years when we got together. And he had never ventured out of what he was used to when he was growing up. And so as we went here, and he goes, "Oh, this is really good. This is really." I mean, I think most of the time people just get in their rut. But I love visiting different cultures, and I love trying their foods and learning their traditions. That's one of my hobbies.
Has this gotten to the kids as well, just as far as eating better, planning?
Well, all of my kids were always good eaters. We didn't have a lot of junk around when they were growing up, and nobody ever had any kind of weight problem. And they've always been into healthy. I mean, this goes way back to my dad. Is 84, and he has never spent the night in a hospital. And when I was a kid, he would have me doing calisthenics, and I grew up on a farm. I never ate vegetables that we didn't raise until I went away to college. And I thought that was very sad because none of them tasted as good. And a lot of the livestock, the meat that we ate, actually came either from our farm and then from once my grandfather wasn't doing that anymore, from other farmers. And so, I came from a family that really appreciated, eating properly for good health.
In doing my research for you over the weekend, do I have it right that you have lived in Wendell and Fuquay?
Oh, no.
Okay, because those are the only two listed. I always like to make sure.
I've lived in Wendell and Greensboro and Charlotte and Lewisburg, and then I came to Raleigh in '93, and then about 9 years ago, my husband wanted us to get an old house, which we did. We've got a 118-year-old farmhouse out in Fuquay, and so because he wanted to be back out in a rural area.
Yeah.
I sort of miss being inside the Beltline.
Does he have a nasty to-do list then if he wanted the house and the property?
Oh, no. I don't know why he wanted all that, because he doesn't like all of those things. He likes to travel. I tell him we need a house the size of a postage stamp. Yeah. That would be perfect.
Where was your most recent trip?
Our most recent trip for work, well, the best one, because I just got back from Texas, but was in May. We earned a 2-week trip to Italy with our company, and we were in Rome, and then we were in Sicily and on the coast, the Amalfi Coast. It was amazing.
That's your world, because they shop every day for the fresh stuff that they're going to cook that night, which how everybody did back in the day. But that must be, you just must be smiling walking all over those places.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I love to travel, and I love to see it. I really like Europe. Europe is much more health conscious than we are. Mm-hmm. Now, last year we earned a trip for 11 days to Japan with our company, and that was really big. In Japan was amazing. And they are very, very health conscious. It was so interesting seeing all the women walking around with their umbrellas to keep the sun off of them. And that is a very health conscious society. That was fun.
How do you earn these trips?
Well, you earn them through getting promotions and sharing the products and the business with other people.
How do you like that part? Because there's two parts. If I get this right, one is you sell product, and the other is you build a team. And you call it whatever you want.
Yeah, it's a team.
They'll do that, but you build a team. Is there one you prefer over the other when you got started as opposed to now?
Well, I love the products, and when I started this, I really didn't have any plans to retire from my psychotherapy practice, but I've been doing it for 25 years. And what I love, and I believe in being self-employed. The way that happened was I got pregnant, and I knew that I couldn't stay stay home if my kids were sick and be a nurse in the hospital. And I hadn't gotten back to graduate school yet. So I bought 2 H&R Block franchises and that were struggling, and I doubled them 2 or 3 years in a row. And because it gave me freedom, and freedom is really, I think that's what every entrepreneur is looking for. They want to have freedom. For me, freedom means having the money and the time to spend the time with my family and see the things in the world that I want to see.
I agree with you. That's why I enjoy it as well. Just, I like the flexibility. And now that I'm in the grandparent game, which,
Oh, yes.
by the way, we had Oliver for a whole week, which was awesome. He's 16 months, and I forgot what it takes to chase a 1-year-old around. I was like, man.
They have a lot of energy.
Oh, my God. It was great because he just wanted, and it was a new house, or our house was new because they stayed with us for a week. So everything he turned and saw was brand new. The funny part of it was there were 5 adults there. After every 10 minutes, we were tagging each other in. It's like, I need a break. He wanted to go outside. He wanted to come back inside. He wanted to go upstairs, downstairs, touch everything.
Right.
Oh, it's hilarious. And he freaks the dog out because the dog can't nap anymore with a 1-year-old in the house.
Now, I'm sure the dog does not particularly like
No,
that.
she was great till he started crawling. She had her couch at home, and she used to nap all day long. And once he figured out how to pull up on the couch and just slam his hand down, thinking he was petting her gently. But it was great. That's what I love, is the flexibility to go visit whenever I want to, not put in for vacation for 3
That's
days. But we tell people all the time, as a business coach, it's not for small business is not for everybody. But if you do it right, it's a wonderful living.
Well, I think there's 2 groups of people. There are people who are job people, and there are people who are entrepreneurial.
Yes.
And a job person trying to do a business is going to be absolutely miserable. And an entrepreneur being a job is going to be miserable. And what I like to do is teach people about the benefits and then how to have their own business. Because people have this idea that if you have a job, you have security, and you don't. Your security is only, it's only as long as you are an asset to that employer. And someone who owns a traditional business, the way they make more money is squeezing the people at the bottom.
Yes.
And what I like about what I call collaborative entrepreneurship is I teach people how to build their own business and to then bring other people in, and they build businesses. And the only way in my company that you can really be successful is to teach others how to be successful. And with our products, I believe them. I believe that every time that a product is sold, that a life is changed for the better. And I see that over and over again.
You have a nursing background, nursing degree. Your undergrad, if I read all the letters right, Amnon, if you'll put those letters up there on the screen there. I love this because I needed to ask, so we're going to put them up there for everybody. You did your undergrad at UNC Greensboro.
That's correct.
Which was BSN, which means what?
Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
Okay. Then you went to UNC Chapel Hill. And if you ever want to worry about who to cheer for at Kimball, there is no doubt. There is no Duke in her world.
No.
It's only Carolina and all the other schools. That's where you got your MSN, which is
Master of Science in Nursing.
And you got it in psychiatric mental health nursing.
Right.
All right. So what are all these other letters for?
Okay. It's mental health clinical nurse specialist, board certified.
What does the P mean?
Oh, public.
Public mental health certified nursing or nurse, and then there's an S.
Clinical nurse specialist. Board certified.
I know.
Board certified.
Board certified. Okay.
Right.
Was there any doubt you were going to be a nurse?
Oh, well, I never really planned. Well, when I was 5, I thought it would be a nurse. But when I was in high school, I thought that I wanted to go the psychology route. But I realized that I wanted to be out and on my own sooner than I could I'd have to get a PhD in psychology. And I found out that with nursing, to go on and get that particular degree, that I could have an independent practice without having a PhD. So that's why I went that route. And what I do is very similar to a nurse practitioner, only I don't have prescriptive practice. Now, there are states in the United States that I would have prescriptive practice because I am a clinical nurse specialist, but not here. But I'm not really interested in prescribing medicines. That's not what, and there are people that I refer for medications, and I have trusted doctors and nurse practitioners that I send them to. But if you can do something through exercise and diet and sleep and improving, then it is just so much better.
That's obviously a problem in our society today, are the prescription drugs. And I've learned through BNI, getting to meet people like you, chiropractors, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm now going to, massage therapists. There are, and people should try that first, because I've not
Right.
had, my back's been bothering me. This goes back to, I think, 2005, when we're living in Daytona, and we were told that 3 hurricanes are headed our way, which they did. They all came across Central Florida and got us. My neighbor and I decided, hey, let's board up each other's house, help each other out. And my back seized up for the first time 2 days after that. And it's
Ooh.
been a mess ever since. And I was stupid not to go. What I did was I took a lot of muscle relaxers and a lot of anti-inflammatory. Now that I'm going to I see my chiropractor about once every 3 weeks, and I see my massage therapist about once every 4 weeks to get on a maintenance plan.
Right.
And I wear KT tape on my back,
Mm-hmm.
which helps. I've had people tell me it doesn't really work. Well, it does for me. And I'm on 3 days now without it. So I can go stretches of time without any of that because I do the exercise.
Right.
And I've gotten off the pills, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
About once a year, I have to take a couple because I really do something stupid. But before I did the stuff you're talking about, when my back went out, I'd be in bed for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I do the same thing, I'm in like a day and a half, but I can get up if I have to. So I love what you talk about, because I'm actually living through that now and not having to worry about, oh, I got to go to the doctor, get a prescription filled.
Right.
In its place, it works.
Right.
But what I've learned is, if I stretch and drink a lot of water and eat right, keep my weight down, man, that's 80% of the battle that I've found. And I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm not everybody's not like me, but man, that stuff
Right.
really works. And I know you tell people that every day.
All right. It's how you take care of yourself.
Eventually the light comes on with them, right?
Well, some will, some won't.
Yep.
Someone's waiting.
Yeah.
I'm really not in the job of convincing people. I don't find that very much fun. If someone has a problem and I offer them, I say I may have a solution, you want to learn more, then I'm happy to talk with them.
Mhm.
If they tell me no, I'm okay with that. Yes. I've learned a long time ago, one of my grandmother's saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And you can spend a lot of time trying to convince people, and it just won't work.
What I've learned in being an entrepreneur, because we're all in sales. You can spin it however you want, but we're all in sales.
If you got married, you sold somebody something.
I did. I'm going to tell Becky that when I go, Kimball says I sold you well. I think that's a compliment now that I say it out loud. So, yeah. What I've learned is people want to buy.
Yes.
They don't want to be sold.
Mhm. No.
The more you can educate people,
Right.
we all make our own decisions, and you're right. But if you educate 10 people, you're going to get more than half of them to go, I think I need to try that and start with that.
Right.
They hate being sold to. They want to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to be sold.
Do you have people come to you at different stages of their pain points?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, now I'll tell you who I love working with are athletes, because athletes, they look for that extra 5 to 10% in performance. They're very coachable and very teachable, and you give them things that work and they're right on it. So they're probably my favorites. And then I come with people that are beginning to have problems, and they're easier to work with because they're motivated. The group that's probably the harder people who have chronic issues, because a lot of times they're afraid to hope. They're afraid to hope that anything will make them better because they don't believe it can happen. And I'll tell you, I was kind of like that. I mean, I was 13 when I was hospitalized. I was almost 45 when I found these products. I really didn't think that life could ever be different. And then I found that I could.
Before I went to the chiropractor for the first time, I think I've been going to Ashley since February. It's made just my range of motion, I finally got back. And the massage therapist got the pain out of me. So I'm still 58, but I feel a lot younger, a lot different. I was concerned, because the muscle relaxers and the anti-inflammatory really work. Now, it takes a while. I got to chew some for a couple of days, but it takes a while to do that. But I knew that really worked. That was my concern, getting off that way. And I didn't abuse it by any stretch of the imagination. I could go 5 months without taking any. And then I'd do something stupid on my back. But that was my concern is, well, if I don't take those anymore, how am I going to lower the inflammation and things like that? And I found out it's pretty easy to do that. I know with food, but the water, it's 2 times your weight in ounces.
You take your weight,
Yep.
divide it in half, and
Yep.
that's the number of ounces that you need to drink in a
Or
day.
half your weight. Sorry,
half
not
of
2
your
times.
weight,
Yeah,
half of your
'cause
body weight.
I couldn't drink 400 ounces of water.
No, that
wouldn't
wouldn't
want
be
to now.
that
So,
wouldn't be too good.
but it's just simple things like that.
Yes.
And the stretching is wonderful. I've had a couple of people tell me I need to start doing yoga,
Mhm.
which I think would help my back. But there's so many options people
Yeah.
can take without going the drugs.
Right.
But I think they're afraid. I think a lot of us are afraid to do that.
Well, doctors can only offer you drugs and surgery. Legally, that's what they can offer you.
Ooh, I've never heard it put that way.
Medical doctors,
Yeah.
that's the way it's set up. And so that's what they're going to offer you. And, chiropractors, I had my first chiropractic adjustment at 2:30 in the morning when I was 28 years old. 27.
What did you do?
I was breastfeeding my twins, and I was on a trip. Then I owned franchises with Nikken and not with H&R Block, and when I was picking the kids up to put them in the car, I pulled my back, and I was having these horrible spasms. And I knew if I went to an emergency room, they were going to give me a muscle relaxant,
Mhm.
and they were probably going to suggest an opiate, and I wasn't going to do that. So I looked in the phone book in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. There was a
I know it,
chiropractor,
yeah.
and he said that he took emergencies 24 hours a day. And I called him, and I met him at his office, and I've had chiropractic care ever since.
Yeah.
He got me fixed up, and I was able to come back to North Carolina, babies in tow, no medicines.
The other thing is, can you be a functional mom with what the emergency room would have prescribed you?
Right.
And
Right.
probably
No.
not.
And look at the opiate crisis that we're having now.
Massive.
It's just really bad. No, people take better care of their cars than they do their bodies. And
Oh,
that's really sad because, where you're going to live if you don't take care of your body.
People spend more money on their pets
Oh, yes.
than they do on themselves. They'll spend $700 for their dog to have something done,
Mm-hmm.
and they won't do a thing for themselves so they can be healthy for the dog. My analogy I always give, and you fly a lot, so you know this routine. When the flight attendant says, when your oxygen mask, if check comes down and you're traveling with a child, put yours on first,
That's right.
because you're no good if you black out.
That's exactly right.
And it's the same thing, and especially in small business. If you are the business and all of a sudden you mess up your back for 5 days, what's going to happen to your clients?
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
What I've learned is over the last years is I feel so much better about me because I'm learning more of what triggers when I sit wrong for a length of time or anything like that. And now I've got mechanisms to take care of them by different stretches.
Right.
So, I know. And I know the first time you help somebody, you must have thought, okay, I'm not doing anything ever again. I love this feeling.
Yeah.
Do
Always.
you remember how far back that was? Who you might have helped?
Well, I don't know. I helped myself first.
That's true. You did. Yeah.
It's pretty typical. Last week I looked in Facebook and realized there's this little chat thing down there that I didn't know was there. And there was a message from somebody in October, and I looked at it, and she had met me a year and a half ago when I did a booth. And she had been in a car accident, had crushed her ankle, and her ankle was very swollen. And we have a type of tape. It's like kinetic tape, only it has some extra energy with it. And I gave her about a foot of it, and I taped it for her. She said, when you did that, immediately I started getting results. And she said, I went on eBay and I found the tape cheaper than I get it from you. So I bought some. She says, but I'm almost out. She said, but that has been a year and a half. And she says, I walk on my ankle and I am absolutely great now. She said, nobody can believe it. She says, my doctors want to know what's different. I said, well, these products improve circulation and they decrease inflammation. And that's how it works. But probably the biggest one is, when you can help someone that's 80 years old. So a girlfriend of mine called me about 3 weeks ago, and she says, my friend's had fibromyalgia for 20-some years. She said she broke her ankle last January and was in rehab for a month, and she's in a chair, and she's hurting all the time. And I said, well, let's go over and see her. So I carried some of my things, a grounding pad, some magnets, different things. And she tried the different things while we were there. And she says they felt good. She wanted to get those. She wanted to order some more things. On Monday, I got a call that she was up in her kitchen. She was feeling so much better. This is the best she's been since she broke her ankle. So I know that if people will listen and work with me, that I can help them feel good naturally. Now, it's not magic. It's not like you put a magnet on and poof, the problem's gone. That would be magic. That isn't what it is. You know, what these products do, everything that we've got improves circulation, decreases inflammation, improves nerve conduction. Everything is working on that. And so it takes time. I say that if you've had something for 20 years, don't expect for it to be gone in 20 minutes.
I like the fact that things can be broken down to, most things are simple. They're not easy. Just like you said, it's not, but they're simple. Circulation and inflammation, a lot of that we can control ourselves by what we eat and drink and exercise.
Well, circulation, you can't really. Circulation, as you age, the pump is going to get weaker.
Okay.
And that means that it's not going to circulate as well. Particularly with the feet are one of the places that you start noticing. People who have diabetes, certainly with diabetics, feet are a huge thing. In fact, that can be a cause for amputation and death. So with magnets, and that's what we promote them, is that when you put a magnet on the body, it helps the flow of blood. It's Faraday's law. I'm not going to give you the science class today, but Faraday's law means that it is going to improve the flow. There's iron in your blood. The magnets attract to it, so it flows better, flows faster. So like for someone who's been diabetic, or has decreased circulation just because of the heart, when you put magnets on their feet, then when the blood gets all the way down those feet, it helps it turn around and come back easier.
But with education like that, we can help ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Instead
people
of going
can,
straight to the medicine. Probably
absolutely.
how I should have phrased that a little bit better that way.
Yeah.
But if we'll take a minute to figure out what's bothering us and why and what we can do to help.
Oh, there's a wisdom to the body, and your body talks to you. And if you will listen to your body, you will know what you should and should not be doing.
Yes. I love the quote on you're very active on social media, and I know that it helps you get your word out.
Right.
Which is great. Most people don't use the technology part of it. But the quote I pulled was, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience.
That's right.
Where did that start? And give us a little more detail on it.
Well, that really comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Okay.
Dr. Wayne Dyer was a energy psychologist, very spiritual person, wrote lots and lots of books. But that's what Wayne always said. You know, we are here for a short period of time, really. But I believe that we are energy, and I believe that we will transform into another form. So this is just one experience along the travel. And so people get so bent out of shape over what's happening. What if everything that's happening in your life is a lesson that you're supposed to be learning?
Kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah. And what if the universe, God, is always conspiring to do you good? Louise Hay is another one of my big people, and I love one of her affirmations, which is, everything that comes from this experience is working for my highest good. Everything that lies before me is good. I'm safe. What if every day in every situation you were in, you just made that your affirmation? I mean, we totally have control of our lives if we just realize it.
Everything that happens to us is information.
Right.
If you drive if you drive your car and you hit the same pothole on the same road you go every day, you're going to have a problem with your car. Just like if you don't stretch before you run, jump, whatever, you're going to have problems. It's like, again, you drive into the pothole, that's information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that does this to my car, it's going to cost me $180 for this or whatever it is. Don't do that. Even failures. And I hate using that word, but if you try something.
No, there is no, people get really bent out of shape about failure. The only people who have never failed are people who have never done anything.
Right. And the way I look at it is you tried something that didn't succeed totally yet.
Well, Edison is one of my favorites.
Yes.
And there was a reporter who said, Mr. Edison, how did it feel to fail 700 times or whatever? And he said, I never failed. Yeah. Everything that I did taught me something about what's in this light bulb.
Yep.
And I think it's terrible because little kids up till the age of 5 will try anything.
Sure.
And then they go to school and they're taught about failing.
Yes.
And they're taught about what you can't do. And, my thought is fail forward faster.
Yes. Most successful people will tell you they learned the most from things that didn't turn out the way they had hoped.
Exactly.
But that's how that's information. All right, if I open this business, if I start a H&R Block and I don't tell anybody I'm there, I don't tell them the problems we solve, I'm not going to get much business. But you learned, I need to get out there, social media, ways like that to teach people, to show them where I am, and more importantly, what problem I can solve.
Oh yeah, I'm a noisy introvert, but I'm introverted.
A noisy introvert. I'm writing stuff down about you all the time.
When I bought the block offices, I did not like to get out. I really still, I can go to the beach and get a place on the beach and open the doors and stay there and listen and watch the ocean and never go out, and I'm just absolutely fine. My husband actually is a very quiet extrovert, so we're the opposites. But when I bought the block offices, I joined the Chamber of Commerce the next day. And by that, 2 days later, I was at one of their events. Networking is essential. BNI, though, does it smarter than anybody else. I've been a member of BNI, since we got this business, basically. And BNI monitors the things that need to be monitored. You get the relationship. You find, you're looking for business owners that have a little gumption.
Yes.
People that want to be successful, and then you make partnerships and referral partners with them, and you become their marketing team and they become yours, and then you can grow things. Networking is what it's all about, but there's nobody, and there's a lot of different networking groups out there, but I still believe that there's nobody that does it as well as BNI.
And I think you'll agree with this also. I'm doing Bill Davis's 100 Days to Abundance, and he's just the man. But again, that's a whole other podcast. He's been on before, and I just didn't have enough time with him. People refer on relationships.
No like and trust.
No like and trust. And everybody watching and listening, I ask you to go through your mental Rolodex and think how you got that client or that friend or that whoever it is. Your business, health and finance are very personal. Mm-hmm. I can't walk up to you. If your car's acting up, I can walk up and say, I know a good mechanic. Can I help you with that? I can't walk up to you or Amnon, and I could, but I'd be hit in the face, and I should. It's very personal. So you have to work off referrals.
Right.
For the most part. But again, it's coming from somebody you've helped before that says, just call Kimball. And the follow-up question is just call Kimball. So, but I'm with you on BNI. I love it because you build those relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's who's going to send you business.
That's right.
When was the first time you ever heard of BNI?
Well, that's funny because my husband was going to take the lead in this business. And a coach of ours said that we needed to go to BNI. And so he chose a group because he was a morning person and I wasn't. And so he was going to go to this 7:30 morning group on Thursday mornings, but he wanted me to go with him. And I think he went 3 times before BNI, I was going to be the member of BNI. And I was in that group for 10 years.
Well, that's where we met. Yeah.
Yes.
Church,
yes. So, and it was a great group of people and I liked it, but I didn't know how valuable it was going to be when I first went.
When you build that trust with people, and I tell people, because I do training for new members twice a month, and I tell them, if you are about to refer somebody, one question is, would you refer that person to your mother?
Right.
And if the answer is no, go back and redevelop that relationship or find somebody else.
Right.
But the value of the referrals through school, through church, through the neighborhood, just call so-and-so because you know them and you like them and you trust them, massive for small businesses.
Right.
And that's one of the ways that my brother and we've started 2 businesses through BNI. And it was just, you got to know the people. And that's one of the hardest things you were talking about earlier with networking is people to do because it's not easy. Sometimes it's not fun walking in a room and you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
But always take a wingman. So how did you start growing that through BNI? Was it just the individual relationships you had with the folks there?
Yes. Yes.
How else, what other ways do you do that
How do I
to grow the business?
Oh, you mean through BNI or
No, in general.
Oh, well, I do talks. I run a Lunch for Life
I was
that
just
meets
going there,
every
yes.
Tuesday at the Mason Jar Tavern in Fuquay, not Holly Springs. It's on Main Street in Fuquay. And we have a speaker in the area of mind, body, family, society, and finances. And the idea was put a place where people from the community who are interested in health and wellness and entrepreneurs could come together. So you got to eat anyway. So I say you come and you get to network, and we always have a lot of fun. And then actually on Sunday nights at my house, I do something called Wind Down, Energize Up. And there's no presentation, nothing like that. We just play with the energies. I use our water filter and I turn wine into water, because when I pour the wine through there, the filter is so good that it comes out as water and you can drink the water and it has no taste of alcohol. I mean, it really does turn it back into water. When you get a magnetic rollout massage and we play, just have a really good time. And that's been a really big hit. We have so much fun at that. But it's a matter of getting to know people, letting them get to know me, and let them experience.
Yeah.
Now, our products are things that you have to taste, touch, and feel. I can tell you what a magnet is like. I can tell you what wearing a certain kind of wrap, but until you feel it, you're really not going to know what it does for you.
We are here the first Monday of December.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the 2020 goals you're looking for? And for the people watching and listening, what are some of the things you would recommend? Just subtle, slow changes instead of going cold turkey. Just changes they should look at to make forward in their lives in 2020. We'll go on the health part of it first.
Well, the one biggest is to cut sugar out of your diet. And I'm not, white sugar, definitely, but you only want so much fruit as well. And the reason is fruit is sugar, and sugar causes inflammation in the body. The next thing to do is the water. Water is huge. 1% dehydration affects your ability to concentrate. So take your body weight, divide it in half, that number of ounces a day. Get a big jug that you fill up, and how many times you have to do that to meet whatever your goal is, and then just drink that every day. Improve your sleep. Set a set time that you're going to go to bed and a set time that you're going to get up, and do some moving around. If you just walked 10 to 15 minutes twice a day, and actually twice a day is better than one walk of 30 minutes because you'll get your heart rate up twice. That is huge. Get vegetables in your diet and think about what kind of protein you're doing. It's really, you are what you eat, and you are how you care for your body.
I've heard many people talk about, as far as the sleep, we look at it different because a lot of people, they'll get in bed and they'll read. Mm-hmm. And that's not sleep.
The bed is for two things.
Two things. We talked about that as well on another show. Yes. Sleep and sex, people, if you don't know what it is. Yeah.
That's it.
Do not take your Kindle in there. Don't take your book in there, because you're giving your body different signals at 11 o'clock at night in bed reading.
Well, and there's also electromagnetic smog. Mm-hmm. You want to keep your cell phone and electronics at least 6 feet from your bed, because that can actually influence your ability to sleep.
Within 6 feet of your bed?
Within 6 feet.
Ooh, I hadn't heard that one yet.
And a lot of people go to sleep with their phone on the pillow next to them, and that is setting out a huge amount of radiation. It is not good for you.
This information is not the end of the world is coming.
No.
It's common sense that a cell phone, if you look at the way it's made, it has to radiate some stuff. It just has to. And there's no reason for you to fall asleep with it on your pillow.
No.
I don't think.
No.
I don't want to preach, but I don't think.
And this is, if you have a teenager, listen carefully. You need to take, or a child, you take their cell phone at 9 o'clock at night, and they don't get it back till the morning. Because one of the reasons they're so sleepy if they have their cell phone in there with it at night is they are up and they are on it. Yes. And they are talking to their friends and they're playing games and all kinds of things. And people go, oh, not my kid. I go, look at the history. I was the kid that went to bed and I had the family's flashlight and I was under the covers reading at night. It's not really a lot different. So, kids have been doing this forever. But the cell phones are a huge thing, and they affect your child's health and their ability to perform in school.
My sister took both of her kids' phones, said you have to leave them on the counter charging at night.
That's it.
And one of them, I forget which one of them, thought, oh, I can outsmart my parents. And they would set the phones up so only they knew, because the kids would go to bed and they'd say, I'll plug in your phone. And they would angle it, set it up so only they would know. And one of them messed it up. I forget which one it was. And then the phones were hidden. But you're right, though. There's no need for that in your
No.
bedroom when you're sleeping, because you're there to sleep.
That's right.
And to shut down, you power down. We look at the blue screen all day long. So all those little things add up. And again, it's one of those things we can educate ourselves on, that it is hard to put your stuff away. I get that, because we're getting information, communication, however, but we got to, we all have to.
Your brain and your body need to rest. You wouldn't buy a car and turn it on and let it run constantly, would you?
No.
Well, that's when you don't sleep. That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Rest is essential.
What are your goals for 2020? What are your health goals for 2020? You've been in this a long time. What can you get better at?
Well, I am starting to teach NIA this year, and I'm excited about that. And I will, NIA's done in belts, and I have a white belt. And this year I want to do a blue belt. I have released about 30 pounds, and there's about 20 more I'd like to let go of. So those are my health goals for the year.
Is Jeff a good dancer?
Jeff does not like to dance.
Can he?
He can, and when we have taken dance lessons, he has the strongest lead I've ever felt, because he is just like, yeah, it's not his favorite thing to do.
When you travel overseas, you have opportunities to go dancing or go to events, I'm sure.
Oh, he goes, and here's our rule. I can dance with anybody I want, and he will dance one slow dance a night, and that's what I get.
All right. As long as
he is not a dancer.
As long as everybody knows the rules going in.
He knows we have the rules. He says, I don't want to do this.
Where's your next trip? What's your goal for your next trip?
Oh, well, I'm in the process right now of earning our trip to New York for Nikken's 45th anniversary. But my big plan is to get another promotion in our company. And what I'm going to treat myself with is a trip to American Samoa, where my youngest son has been working as an attorney for 2 years now.
How'd you get there?
Well, his fiance was an engineer, and she was traveling outside of the country. And she said, I want to live outside the country for a while. And he said, I'm a lawyer. I can't do that. And then he said, well, I can do law on an American territory. And I don't think American Samoa is exactly what she really liked Spain. This is a little different. But they've been there for 2 years now, and he's going to be there another year. So, and he lives, oh gosh, the pictures are just gorgeous. It's a paradise, but it's very different.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And you've not been there yet?
Not yet, no.
Right. That's your goal?
That's my goal.
Very cool. We've been putting your phone number up on the screen throughout the show. What's your website? What's the best place people can get information?
WellnessSolutionsToday.com.
And that's wellness singular, solutions plural.
No.
Wellness solution.
Yeah, solutionstoday.com. Yes, solutions
right.
is plural.
Get all kinds of information, again, on the 5 pillars: health, mind, body, family, finances.
And
I got
society.
6. And society. Ooh, I got 6. Health, body, family, finances, and society. Right?
Mind, body, family, society, and finances.
There we go. Let me take health out of it. I wrote 6 down. It's better than 4. So I'll defend that in court.
You know, you can go up and down. They're all important.
I can defend 6 in
but
court.
those 5 are what encompass health. And I
Yeah.
think that the spiritual is in the center of that.
Right. So we agree. There's a lot of things we can do on our own to move towards a goal to live happier and healthier.
Yes.
Right. So everybody needs to go to Kimball's website. So call her on the phone. Just a consultation. Just understand what's out there and what information you need to know. You may do business with Kimball. You may not.
Right.
But at least go find the information. You'll be better off for it. Kimball, we thank you for being on the show today. Wish you best of luck for the end of 2019 and your trip to American Samoa. I think your goal already in it, so I think you'll get that. And we will see you next week on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.